Thought you had a different vibe. You had.
I know, right?
That would have been a good.
That ain't even Irene era. I don't even.
Here you go.
You got that old soul.
Yeah, I do.
Talking about?
I do.
Yeah,
I
that's a
can't
good
deny
thing.
that.
When I first started making beats, that's all I was sampling though. 70s and 60s.
Yeah, that's how it go.
Yeah.
It's foundation, everything, you know.
It'll never
Building
get
off of
old.
something. Yeah.
Hell
It's
yeah.
never gonna get old. It's bad.
It had a message in it too. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just wham, bam, thank you, man, roll over Beethoven. You know what I'm saying?
Beethoven.
Right, yeah, it's a foreplay to it.
There
you know
you
what
go.
I'm saying?
It was wham bam, thank you, man, but they worded it more creative.
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't
The
just say
censorship
it.
changed. You know, you was able to say more.
Yeah.
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 Now
was
you're
able
able
to
to say. I mean, now you're able to say.
Yeah, I'm about to
more.
say yeah.
Right.
So
Everything was
it's like I'm just
sugar-coated.
going straight to the point.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Right.
And
There's
then
no,
take that
no more
off.
foreplay.
No more.
No, I need a chaser. You know, I need
Yeah.
some sugar. You
You
gotta
do need some
sugar coat
chaser.
it a little bit.
Yeah, right.
You need chaser with these niggas. Yeah. I'm just playing.
Oh my goodness.
So how y'all doing, man?
Man, we good, man.
Yeah.
Man, how was y'all week, man? Good? Gucci?
It don't even feel like Friday.
It don't.
I don't know. I feel like Friday.
I don't know. It feel like it's been the longest week ever. It feel like it's been the longest Monday for me.
Yeah.
Damn.
So this 67 Social coming in on a bad Friday, trying to get all the great product. But you know, we have our special guest here tonight, Sean Parker. Oh, but let's first introduce ourselves. I'm Money Mike.
Dream Irene.
V City 1153.
Okay.
And I'm Sean 312
Oh, I'm
312
sorry.
Yeah.
He told us to announce him as
Yeah.
312.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Then we asked him why was it 312 and not 773.
Right. And then I told him it was the original Chicago area code. It's
It was.
312.
Yeah,
was.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
All this 773,
312.
708, 847.
312 don't sound good. It look good on like the paintings, but it don't. 312. No, 773.
There was too many numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
That's what was happening. It was too
Yeah.
many numbers.
So where you from? 312.
Yeah, I'm from 312 in
Okay.
Chicago, South Side.
Okay.
Okay.
And part Northwest, Cabrini Green area. My dad stayed out that way, and my mom stayed over. So I went to school here in Inglewood, and
Okay.
born and raised, and had a tremendous experience.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah, that's my stomping ground. I went to the Stagg Elementary School, went to Calumet High School, at least for my freshman year. Because I was going back and forth to the juvenile detention center. So
you was getting
I
in
spent
trouble.
my time, you know,
Hamilton.
right, 1100 Hamilton Avenue, 4H, 4C, 4B, you know what I'm saying? Going back and forth in there. So, yeah, so I had to get a GED, and on from there. But yeah, that's my stomping ground, man. You know? Got involved in all the activities that was out there for young men that they are involved in right now.
That's a nice way to say it.
Right, man.
That's a nice way to say it.
Right, we ain't gonna say drug dealer, we're gonna say street farmers, right?
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, it was like that. So it was hot like that. So just gang banging, being on the streets and trying to eat and everything, and getting in a lot of trouble and everything, and to where I am now, it's been a wonderful thing. It shows it's possible for our young people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
But give us a little, you know, some insight on your story, like, you know, from the beginning. So, you know, we know Sean 312 Unc, but, you know, you were talking to us in the back about it a little bit, but, you know, go into a little bit more detail on, you know, where you come from and what you're doing now. These are his books, by the way, y'all, too. If you can tell us about the books.
yeah.
A Well-Dressed Lie.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, you do know we get a portion of the book deal, right?
Yeah, we signed shady deals.
I'm telling you, everybody got their hand in my pocket. Come on, public.
We don't want
You know what
number
I'm saying?
6.7%.
That's our 6.7. That's our
6.7% of all
That's all.
sales.
That's all. You know what I'm saying?
You promoted on our platform.
Absolutely.
We didn't tell you,
Right,
but we just
right.
we breaking it to you now.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna
Right.
grab the contract from back. No, we joking, but
No.
tell us about your
journey.
Your journey.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, like I said, raised in a situation. Mom and dad initially, dad left around 9 years old. I didn't know what was going on. You know how the game go. He was staying during the week, then come home on the weekend, and then it changed from, the weekend to being gone all week into all of that. So I kind of went through that phase, me and my brothers and sister and everything like that. And I was kind of trying to navigate through that, being in a neighborhood where every man for himself, God for us all. So, and because my age difference, they're so much older than me and they trying to do their thing. So, even at age 5, I was left, at the crib on my own. And so I would just call the police department or whatever, say somebody trying to break in or whatever. So I had to learn very early in life, look, it's all about you. You can't this could take you one way or the other. You're going to have to realize this is reality and you're going to have to make the best of the situation,
Gotcha.
So that means I had to get in where I fit in. So I had to eat because, again, food was very, very sparse. I had lights off, gas off, everything out of the crib. And these tanks and stuff where you put water on there and heat it up, boil hot dogs, wash up and everything. So just really coming from the gutter. So, I can't maintain a lifestyle like that. And I got to do what I got to do. So that translated into gang banging. And I went in, I was a gangster disciple, went from a foot soldier to a general. I had a particular area, hitting freight trains, robbing, sticking up people, selling drugs, going back and forth to the end. This is all just as a teenager and everything like that. So just, at it like a lot of our young people are out here, misguided, misdirected and everything. And while I was locked up, I went to a Bible study class at the time, and not to go do no God thing or nothing, just to get out of the environment. And I was holding the building down at the time. So one of the guards, they were just getting upset at me. We playing cards. The guard said, hey, you need to go over here and do this. And then the guy look at me and I nod my head and say, go ahead. So they thought like I'm trying to show I'm this, I'm that, when that was just protocol. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a bunch of stuff going on. So I went to this Bible study class and this guy started talking and sharing his story and all this other stuff. And I was like, man, if that can work, let me get with the program, and that put me on a different trajectory.
But how old were you when that happened?
I was, I think, 15 or 16.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah, but I did about 3.5 years at St. Charles and, just going back and forth. I didn't get a chance to finish my freshman year because of, that kind of scenario there. So, but yeah, getting out there, getting my GED and started doing the church thing, going into the jails, talking they would have me speak in Division 1, 5 Cook County, Stateville, Pontiac Penitentiary, had me start doing graduation ceremonies for GEDs at these different penal institutions, and churches started inviting me to come and speak. And then I put together a program called like Off the Street Youth Outreach, where I was going in schools doing assemblies on gangs, drugs, teen pregnancy, peer pressure, AIDS, low self-esteem, and, just working with young people. Then guys were getting out of jail like, man, I got to eat, man. I know what you're saying, Sean, but I got a family out here.
Yeah.
So I started Parker Brothers Delivery Company, where I got contracts with all the Sam's Clubs, Aaronson's Furniture, and then people said, do you do moving? So I was able to hire these guys and give them some income so they didn't have to go back on the block and to eat and everything like that. So and that turned into me opening up a restaurant and just doing a lot of entrepreneurial things and stuff like that, and trying to help our babies out here in the streets and struggling, and a lot of our people in relationships and stuff. So, but yeah, it's been a journey. I did the church thing. I was a pastor. I went to Bible college. I did all of that. Then I got to a point where I really kind of graduated from church. And I graduated from church because while I was in church doing Black History Month, I was at Salem Baptist Church of Chicago. I was a superintendent over there, and we had several of them, and because we had the largest Sunday school in the Midwest. And during Black History Month, I said, God, I wonder why every time we do Black History Month, we go back to the transatlantic slave trade. It's like we just popped up on ships in the 1600s, and Mayo people said, ooh, we got a new species here, and just start importing, exporting us as slaves all over the world. So, what was our diet 500 years before slavery? Our God, our religion, or whatever the culture would have been.
Right.
So that got me on a trajectory of, just looking into it, so we had a meeting at church, and the brother called us Gentiles. I said, no, if anything, we Hebrews, and that stopped the meeting. They said, no, you can't say that. You got to show proof. They gave me a month. I came back and presented. They couldn't argue it down. I'm like, what else I don't know about us? So that put me on a deep dive in going back in history and finding out what kind of people were we, not what kind of people Mayo people say we were, right? So and that whole deep dive resulted in the books that we see before us today, because the conqueror gets the right to history, not the conquered. Right? So Mayos are the conqueror. So it's what they say. So all we know and all we think we know about what we know, we got it from Mayo. Right? So I realized, wow, there's two different histories. There is a religious history, but there's also world history.
Right.
But religious history is not as old as world history. There's no documentation. So if we talking Bible stuff, right? Okay, Adam and Eve never wrote nothing down about God. Not their kids, not Methuselah, supposed to live to be 1,000 years old, not Noah, not none of his kids, not Abraham. We don't get no documentation until Moses. But when I researched us, our writings and documentation goes back thousands of years before we get that kind of information, right? The pyramid texts, the coffin texts, and all these different things. And it made me realize that I started seeing things that was kind of contrary to what I cut my teeth on in believing. So when I found this data, because I did research, I've been to Egypt, I've been to Ghana, I've been to Ethiopia. So, because when I wrote this book and did this research in history, because this is a corrective history, this is more of an accurate history of what really happened. And so they want to keep this product away from the people that need it the most, which are our people. That's why the cost on this book, if you go on Amazon, it's going to be $62.
You talking about this
book here? It was $72.
Why is it so high?
Because they don't want the information that I have located and found to be out there in the public eye.
Oh, wow. So let me ask you something. So they put the surcharge on that? Or?
Yes, they did that. I have nothing to do with the charge. They said that this is what the cost is. See, it works this way. The information that I have unpacked, I went back 80,000 years and brought everything back up to date. I deal with all facets of life. I deal with education. I deal with politics. I deal with stuff. I pull the cover back, right? So Mayos are in charge of everything, right? If this is the kind of information they wanted us to know, then they would say we would give it to them. They already know. They say if you want something to have something from from us, put it in the book. But how much more you gonna have from us if you jag up the price like that? Because you know we're not finna do that. It's almost a tank of gas.
Exactly.
We're not finna move like that. I'm sorry, I feel you. You know what? You're gonna don't take this personal.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But we can't move like that. So you move it out of the price range, and that way you don't have to deal with, you know, with all of that kind of stuff. So
I mean, that's strong for any book.
Yeah.
Though.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a strong price.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, absolutely.
I've
So
paid more.
You're okay. I want to go back because that's a lot to take.
Yeah,
in,
that
because I mean, because I mean, we can but unpacking that. I want to go back to when you felt that change, right? So a lot of young men are going through the same thing you going through.
That was my question too.
Right.
His awakening.
You're right. What's the difference? What do you think is the difference in how you had your awakening from other young men? They have access to the same kind of information, right? Probably even more than
more.
than what you had, right? Because we got phones, internet,
World
all of
Wide
that
Web.
shit, right? What's stopping them from having that same awakening that you had, right? I mean, even I understand you went to prison, but I mean they have access to everything, right? What do you think is the big difference between the youth now and how you grew up and how you had your awakening? And how could they see the same light you seen?
right.
Yeah,
what
that
I'm
was my
saying?
question. I swear you took the thoughts right out of my head because that's what I wanted to ask
Yeah.
as well.
Because I mean, because from what I'm getting, it's like, okay, I did my thing, I got locked up, and then I found God, or what I thought, you know, because I know you did more research. I thought, and that led you on this journey, and then that led to a change. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, how could they? I mean, you got Bible apps. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got so much more information, so many more opportunities that can be taken advantage of by young men today.
Well, a belief is more powerful than money.
Okay.
And
I didn't think nothing was.
yeah, belief is right. Belief, you'll tie a bomb around yourself and walk in and blow yourself and
That's
everybody
true.
else. Belief is a heavy
That
thing.
part.
I hear
That's
that.
true.
That part.
So what's happening is we're in the age of Aquarius, right? It's like 26,000 years. This is the time of information that's going so quick, so fast, so
Aquarius
fast, so
is
fast.
the time of truth.
That's the
Yes.
time of truth,
Yes.
How come
right?
everybody know about horoscopes and shit and I don't? What?
But they talk about that when they talk about Diddy and R. Kelly. They just talk about people getting exposed in this Aquarius era.
Right.
It's
Okay,
like,
bet.
damn.
Okay.
Yeah, and you see the evidence of that because what that's saying is indicating is that information is happening, turning up so quick, right? You get an iPhone 5, an iPhone 6, now iPhones, you know, you just keep everything is information changing, right? You change dictionaries every year. There are words added to it, right? Because when you were shorties, there was no such thing as the word selfie. Right, but it's a word now in the dictionary, right? So things continue to grow and evolve.
That's fact.
That does.
Wasn't in the dictionary, selfie.
Yeah. So
What is
the kids are now exposed. So they're not doing church no more because they've been seeing mama and grandmama. They've been seeing people praying. They've been seeing people fasting. They've been seeing people walking around the block and doing all these different other things. But with all of this prayer and fasting and giving and warfare, praise and worship and all these different things in our community, not in all communities, we still got more of our babies going to prison than going to college.
Of course.
So they seeing this, like you say, the information is out now, right? And they seeing we still struggling. Nobody really worships and go in hard for God like the black culture does. People emulate what we have done in church, and there's praise and worship, dance and all these different other things like that. And so they've sat back and watched, and we still hungry, we still broke, we're not seeing any movement, but we're seeing male people, we're seeing other ethnicities manifest blessings where the majority of their kids are not going to prison, They're going to college. Why are we the only people on the planet that got more of our people are going to prison than going to college? What is it? So all of this is for these kids are being inundated with all kind of information and everything like that. And really it's discouraging.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? And so it's like, why should I care? Why should I look? You know what? Everybody doing what they want to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. And so they're not seeing from churches or different organizations a sovereign move of God. See, if they would see something, see, you can't talk to these kids, try to tell them you shouldn't do this, you're going to go to jail. That's cool. Send me to prison. When I come out, I got rank. Well, you going to sit out here, you keep doing what you're doing, they going to kill you. Good. They finna name the block after me.
Oh my
So you can't use fear and all that stuff to work with these kids.
Yeah.
You have to build relationships, and kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
I don't care how mean and cantankerous and gangster and you know what I'm saying, on God on this thing. They are susceptible to that. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, we as men, we don't know how to reach out like that, right? It ain't that we don't want it, po thing. We doing the best we can with what we have, right? But we just haven't been taught that. And it's hard to go and model something that you've never been initiated to, right?
Yeah.
So therefore it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse and not better. So this is the reason why these guys are finding it hard to kind of wake up. You know, church is fine. That's a beginning. At least it's not talking about, for me, what helped me, I went to church 7 days a week for 2.5 years straight. I didn't miss a day, but that was my drug program. Nobody wasn't talking about robbing people, getting high, you know, and none of that stuff. And when I got out, I was so weak, I was so scared I was going to go back. I would see my people coming down the street. I would duck down by a car till they walk by and then get up and go the other way. I already knew if I was going. You see what I'm saying? So, and I continued to go. I didn't know these people at church. I started introducing myself to strangers. Excuse me, I'm Brother Sean. I'll be coming this, that, and the fifth and the other. But that was a program for me to begin to build some new habits and see life through a different lens. And so I forced myself on people in that context there, right? And I came up in that context, right? As a young man, I was pastoring a church up in Minnesota. I had a multicultural church. I had a school go all the way through 8th grade. I had 40% of my congregation was male, right? I had Nigerians and everything. I preached for Billy Graham before he died in one of his crusades. I preached in London. I mean, I was doing all the God stuff, you know, and all of that. But that was a foundation for me, right? I outgrew that, because when people come to Chicago, 312 say this 312, right? When people come to Chicago and see our wonderful towers and Sears Tower or Willis Towers, John Hancock, and all these wonderful buildings and architect design, one of the top 3 in the United States of America, they're not looking and saying, I wonder what that foundation is like, right? No, they're admiring the structure, right? So that's what religion is, and that's what that is. It's foundation for you to grow and go and evolve, but we stay stuck. And the system is designed to keep us stuck, right? So it's hard to break through that shell to get that aha moment, right? And so, but yeah, that's what's happening. So I work now, I supervise 3 shelters for youth in care, right? These are kids that when they get to me, that means they didn't fail every place they went. That means the family said, no, I'm sorry, I don't know where they're going, but they got to get out of here. You feel me? So, or they've been in a foster home with somebody, and then they failed that, then we put them in a specialized foster home. Then they failed that, then we put them in a therapeutic foster home. Then they failed that, then they try to put them in a residential, you know, and each one is getting worse and worse. Instead of stepping down to a less restrictive, they're stepping up to a more restrictive environment. So we get them, right. You done broke everything. Ain't nobody want to deal with you, right? So these are the young people that I deal with now across racial lines that I have from all over the state of Illinois, right? To try to pour back into them. So I get movement with these kids sometimes when my staff is not able to get the kind of movement, it has nothing to do with me going to school and getting degrees in business and therapy and masters and all this from DePaul. It has everything to do with, because kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? So it's that caring, the ability to connect and relate with them and meet them where they are. So, that's been the thing that,
Okay, so from what I'm taking, religion was very effective for you. So it was very effective, right?
Mhm.
Why do you think that religion was taken out of so many different public places like schools, hotels, and different businesses? What I'm saying is, when I was going to school, before lunch, we used to have to say a prayer before lunch. And it was different religious aspects in every classroom. I remember it was a Bible in every class. Same thing with hotels. I've been working for hotels for like 20 years. There's been a Bible in every room. They took all of that. They took all those Bibles out of every hotel room. No more Bible in every room, and nobody says prayer before lunch anymore. If it was so effective for you and other young men like you, why do you think that they've taken that away from?
Because you can't eat off good. You eat off evil, right? You eat off evil. Let's just go ahead and keep it a buck. We say crime don't pay.
Crime.
You must be out your crime pay.
They pay big money.
It pay like a mug.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? So crime paid lawyers, doctors.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody eating off crime.
Officers,
That's
lawyers,
right. All kinds of stuff.
everybody.
You stop crime, you bankrupt this country.
Ain't no question.
So that
Damn,
right
I never
there
thought of it like that.
Yeah. Because see, they don't want us to. They don't see. In order for you, there are three things that the power structure said, Mayo said we must have in order to survive. That's power, authority, and control. I have got to have that at all times, or I'm not going to be comfortable on this planet.
Straight up.
So,
I thought you was going to say money one time. All them was like power, authority, and control.
Straight up.
Damn.
Yeah.
What else left?
You know, I want to say something to that because that's true. Because a long time ago, when Bill Gates first acquired Microsoft and he was making all of that money and he was blowing up, I had asked my daddy. This was a long time ago. I swear to God, this was when y'all probably don't need. I'm gonna say some nerd shit, but this was when the Pentium came out, the Pentium chip, right? And then Bill Gates,
like a computer,
computer
Pentium
shit, right?
Process.
So anyway, he making billions and billions of dollars. And then in my head, I'm thinking to myself, like, what more? What more do you want? Like, you can do anything you want. So my dad was like, for him, it's not about money no more. It's about power.
Absolutely.
It's not about I'm about to make so much money doing this.
Yeah, I'm playing Monopoly.
The control. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm playing Monopoly.
I want it to be where every computer that's being is run on Windows.
I got baseball teams.
I want the operating system that you have to use to put your app on your program. I want that to be Microsoft.
Oh, you want to be Elon Musk?
I bet that's what he basically. No, Elon Musk want to be Bill Gates, but that's another topic.
Yeah.
But I'm going off your point is power. It's about power. When you said money was out the equation, it was power, authority, and control.
Yeah.
At some point, the money is.
They got the cheat code. I'm finna take you way back. I'm finna take you way back.
Go ahead.
Up, down, left, right.
He's right. Exactly.
Right. Take you way back, G.
It's all about power, control, and the authority.
Absolutely.
And
so,
it's true.
Right. So again, this is not so much a racially focused, has more so as a conditioned mindset, right?
Okay.
So again, when I say Mayo, I'm not necessarily talking about the typical everyday run-of-the-mill average Mayo. I am just saying that the power structure that in place, right? You name the platform, there's a male at the top of that,
Absolutely.
right? It don't matter what it is. And it's a male, not a female male, okay? So this is about control, power, and authority. So their system is going to set up where they continue to benefit at the expense of whoever it is,
No doubt.
right?
No doubt.
It's just unfortunate that our skin is our sin. It's not personal, right? We take it personal because we've been raised to have an emotional mindset, right?
Yes.
We make decisions on how we feel, right?
Yeah.
Why you kill your cousin? Because he disrespected me, right? It's all emotionally based, right?
Yeah.
So we're not stepping back and processing and figuring things out and then getting even feedback from somebody else before we make a decision.
Right.
We going ham, we going in, right? But that's because we've been conditioned to be that way.
Yeah.
So it's hard to understand and it's hard to comprehend. But male at that level, they are our mamas and our daddies.
Indeed.
They say what we can live and what we can't live.
Right.
They say how much influence we can have on the planet and how much you can't have.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? Let's just go ahead and keep it a buck.
Yeah.
So if our communities are hurting, then you have to go to the parents, right? Because if your child busts a window out, you're responsible for it.
Ain't no question.
Right? So at any given time, they can change all of this, but all our problems in the community, for those that are in a power and authority, not the everyday average run-of-the-mill typical white person, all right, male, I am saying those that are at the decision-making table.
Yeah.
They are the ones that are.
And to your point, last week we had at my job, a training on a workplace training. So it was a group of people from New York came in, and one of the things that they showed us was the faces of power, and they showed us like this conglomerate of white men, white males at the top of every single industry in the United States. It had their faces up there, all white males. At the bottom, it had a few like in government, entertainment. Sports, every industry at the top power structure, they had the power structure. You know how those, when you see the pyramid?
Right. Yeah.
All white men, all across the board for every industry in the United States. And you didn't get to the bottom where you seen black men, some are sprinkled, and then you seen a few women. And it just blew us away just seeing that just aesthetically, just like, damn, it hit you in the face. It hit different, for real.
Right, absolutely.
As a man, how does that make you feel, like, when y'all see that? As a black man.
I go back to, I ain't trying to quote no rapping shit or anything, but Jay-Z said it, man, you gotta own it. It's a lot of, we be stuck on trying to, I'm not gonna say us, because we don't be on that. I'm talking about us right here, me, Mike, Sean, you. But a lot of us as black people, we stuck on trying to look the part, and I was thinking about that. I forgot what post it was. I was on IG, and it said that rich people stay rich
because they act broke.
Yeah, and poor people stay broke because they act rich.
But that's to his point though. That's conditioning though, because I just seen something. It said that modern day slavery is debt. It blew my mind when I thought about it. I said, damn, that's why they keep giving you, they'll give you a car.
On
you
my
want
soul.
this car, you go ahead.
Come get your car from Monster. You don't need a license, no
give you a
credit.
car.
No driver's license.
$500 a month.
No money down.
No driver's license.
No license.
Hey, that's a that's
trying to fuck you
No
up.
money, no problem.
That's a bogus deal. That's a puffy deal.
Straight
You know
up.
what I mean?
Yeah,
You can't.
straight up. I'm telling you. Sign here, drive here.
There you go.
Exactly,
You
right.
can get a 67
Right.
social contract.
I learned this from Josh, because Josh in the real estate, we were talking about property, and when you own a piece of land, well, when you own a building, you technically don't own it all the way because you have to own the lot.
Yeah.
the land.
It's called a lot.
Right.
So it's like, of course, that pyramid is gonna look one-sided because of the years of a head start.
Absolutely.
That they have
I always
on us.
say that. They got a
And that's
400 year
just a
head
fact.
start.
It's almost like how the NFL is. You got all these families that own these teams. Of course, I'm gonna hire my young
And they're going to keep doing the
nephew
nepotism.
and my brother, and
Right.
and so that's how it is with other companies as well.
Absolutely.
It's just
I
how
always
it
tell
is.
people, if you look at the Heinz ketchup bottles and the
Yeah.
A1 sauce, look at the established date on them joints. It'd be 1849.
Right.
It's been in the family of
Absolutely.
Disney, been in the McDonald's, been in the family
I gotta
1,000
speak up.
years.
I said the same thing to myself too. I was like, damn, some of these companies have been established since the 1800s and have been owned by the same family
For years.
all that
Yep.
time.
The Cowboys, Lakers, they finna be
And
like that.
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I thought about, I'm like, they not
Yeah.
selling these franchises. Certain franchises are not getting sold. I don't care how much you got
Legacy.
to offer me.
That's
Legacy.
your pyramid.
That's
Yeah.
your pyramid.
That's
But
your
see,
your
pyramid.
legacy.
That's kind of like, okay, so that kind of bring me back to how I met you, right? I was doing a political campaign, and we just walked inside his establishment on a 93rd, just like 93rd in
92nd,
Stony Island, the adult daycare. Was that St. Albie? Was it
that
attached to St. Albie?
Lewandowski.
Adult daycare.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. And when I walked in, him and his team, they just welcomed us with like open arms.
That's what's
Yeah.
up.
They let us walk around and everything. It was really amazing to see. But meeting you made me realize when people are doing great things, we gotta support them.
Right.
No matter where you at in life, that's the only way Black people gonna have generational wealth.
Absolutely.
So if he's doing something, I don't have to know him to know that he's doing something that's gonna benefit this community.
Exactly.
And that's just how it's been about 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 3 years now. If I call him like he's gonna support me, I'm gonna support him. I feel like Black people just need to start build a community. We be talking about the problem forever.
Right.
You just go knock on somebody's door and that's the solution.
Right.
Oh,
And that's it.
hold on before
Yeah.
you get started.
Right.
You had a podcast by the name of Kick the Tire.
Right.
So listen. I'm on a Zoom call with them, right? So we talking about you basically. So I'm like, what the hell does kick the tire mean? Both of them get to telling me like, yeah, kick the tire mean with a person walking an auto store to buy a car lot. They window shopping basically. They just kicking.
Oh, is that what you think?
They bullshit. I said, it blew my mind. I said, I never heard that before. I said, you learn something new every. I said, kicking the tire.
Yeah, I never heard that.
I know some people that'll do that. Sound like, how you go up to the? This look. Yeah, I know.
Right.
It's the visual.
No, you ain't got no. You ain't buying shit. You ain't buying nothing.
Right.
Yeah, you did. That joint look real fake.
You shaking and faking. Yeah.
So
You snatching and grabbing.
So please explain that with your podcast.
Right.
Straight up.
Yeah. See, so that's why, again, we doing the best we can with what we know. Right.
For sure.
All right.
So that's why everything has to be breaking down to the lowest common denominator so that we can all gel and be on the same page. So every episode that I did, I kind of broke down what kicking the tires is. Kicking the tires is getting verification.
Okay.
It's doing research. It's not taking everything because somebody said, so that's what I'm going to run with. No, kick the tires. Make sure it is what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Because we're not a research-based people. It ain't because we're
Wow, that's a
lazy.
different spin
You know
on
what I'm
it,
saying?
yeah.
We're too busy trying to take care of kids, pay these bills, run over. We ain't got time.
Right,
we just
for
ain't
sure.
got time, right? Because every time you say yes to something, you saying no to something else. So you have to look at what can I say no to right now
Man,
in
that's
order
cold.
to say yes to that, right?
sure.
That's
So
cold.
so that's the kick in the tires mentality is that we need to do that because the book that when I reveal in this book, it is showing what Malcolm X said that we've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, run amok. I mean, all of that. You know what I'm saying? and we have no idea. We just don't have a clue. It ain't that right, what's going on. And so the system is designed. It's almost like we have been created in a laboratory. Right? So we not really, it's not like we really black people in the sense, but in a sense we black people, but in white face. Right? Because whatever Mayo say, we say same thing he say. Whatever they say, we gonna do the same thing they say. Right? Like Bernie Mac say, you know you something. White folk come see. White folk come see. You know you something, right? Because see, this is how we've been trained. So our highest goal in life has become just for Mayo people to validate us and say, you're amazing. I've never seen anybody like you. You know, you're different, right? And that's what we're longing for, and that's what we go. Why? Because this is what we've been, right? That's right. So how do we break that? See, because, right, absolutely. So part of the solution, being solution focused, is we need a different exposure. I said we can't talk to these kids, threaten them, this, that, and the other. So then what can we do to help us come together and create a different paradigm on how we move on the planet? We must go to Africa. We need that exposure and experience, because all that we know of Africa and all that we think we know of Africa, for the most part, as a people group, is what Mayo have told us. We have not kicked the tires. Right? So I would remember looking on Saturday morning with UNICEF, seeing that baby in the mud with a diaper on, and then we standing there half naked with a spear. These pictures are worth 1,000 words. I'm gonna show you these pictures so that when you think of vacation, that's the last place black people gonna want to go, right? But see,
that's not how it looks.
But see, that's their Mississippi. See, we don't show our Mississippi to the world. Alligator, Mississippi is the poorest city in the United States of America. I know, I have been there, right? They gonna show California, they gonna show Miami, right? So it's all game, so we don't go. So when I get over there and see this beautiful international airport in Ghana, and I'm like, oh my God, I mean, it rivals any airport I ever been to, and I've traveled all over everywhere. All the military, all of the agents sharp together, just chocolate, just beautiful. Welcome home. You know, I mean, it was an out-of-body experience for me to see us working together as groups. We don't do group here. We can't point to one group right now in the United States of America and say, wow, look what an amazing job they are doing for us, right? We don't have not one. Over there, they only do group. We got Michael, we got Oprah, we got all these individuals. We have no group think. So over there, they're able to, all the police, or to say, there's no more fear, or the lights behind you or whatever. Listen, I'm in Ethiopia, and I'm talking about cities so big, you can put New York in. Over there in Ethiopia, that place is huge. We riding, we balling, everything, right? And so we have these things, and they work in it. I was in Ababa, Ethiopia. I came out, had some coffee early in the morning. I'm in a 4-star hotel, right? And I got, my room cost me $17.64 a night.
Damn.
Right?
4-star?
Right, and full meal, full breakfast. Ain't no continental stuff, eggs, bacon, potato, all this other. So I come outside, I see this high rise going up. I see the brother out there with a white helmet on. I go out there, I introduce myself. I said, say, excuse me, so what are you, general contractor? He said, contractor. No contractor, no contractor, no. This you see here, yeah, there are 8 more going up. There's a consortium of us that's doing this. And this already rented, already done. So they work together in groups. We need to see that, because we've been talking about, oh, we need to come together. The Mexicans come together. These people are doing this. All studies done on black people, for the most part, are only done from a deficit model. So when they do studies on us, journal studies, empirical based studies, it is done on how many teen pregnancies in the community, how many kids dropping out of school. At least with Mexicans, they'll say that, well, look, they're family oriented. Or Asians, look how they push their kids to be great in school. We don't get no positive studies like that, right? So we're not reading the tea leaves. We're not paying attention to this. It's not dawning on us. So it's going to be impossible for us to work together during the conversation. We have to go and get that exposure. It will change you. Even I love my people so much more now, and I already had love for my people. These guys out here gang banging, they about to catch a body. They like, when I catch this guy, it's on right now. They come back from that experience, being there for like 2 weeks, they'll see the person, and they will go, and you know what? They'll step back and say, no, I'm going to give homie a pass. That's what it's going to do. Ain't no such things as gangs. Ain't no such thing as carjacking and all that. We don't even move like that. Right. And the only difference is that it's not male dominated like all of North America is.
Right.
Stevie Wonder just moved down there and he said, I'm never living in America again. He blind and can see it.
Damn, that's cool.
Hey, that's going down to the
Hey, that's solid gold.
Yeah, that's solid gold. Yeah. We gonna sell that.
Hey, I got two.
I do too. I got some. Okay, so
Put that clip on the.
since you mentioned Africa, it's okay that I talk about your plans as far as the young boy. Okay, so when you shared with me that you were planning on taking young men to Africa, I was telling everybody. I always brag about you because I'm just like, that is so amazing. Just to know somebody that even have the heart or the mindset to want to do that. How's that looking? Are these boys from Chicago?
Yes. And currently, right now, I did a podcast with the principal of Homewood Flossmoor High School, a professor, a friend of mine. I want to say his name too, Isaac Wiseman. He was almost the mayor of Hazel Crest and everything like that. But I'm going to be taking, I'm putting those guys together. We're looking in December, and I'm going to take them to Ethiopia. And the goal is, because we did this podcast with this station, they had won not an Emmy. What do you call those? Anyway, it was a really powerful time. So it birthed something, and that translated into. You take us first, and then we take the students.
Okay.
So the goal is, if you can get a school like Homewood Flossmoor, which is really one of our bougie-like schools, we have in the south suburbs, then the other schools will feel like, okay, I'm willing to do that, right? So that's the goal, because if we can do that and give them that exposure, that opens them up to change, because they're not listening to nothing. They need a walking, talking, living, breathing model. They got to see it, and we have to see it too, because it'll make us gel together more, and because now we can see behind the veil, right?
For sure.
So what happens when we're left alone and there's no interference? How will we move then? See, the questions we're not asking. Yeah, we out here on the block. Yeah, we out here trying to get that bag. Yeah, a lot of us ain't got no morals, and we catching cases, and we doing all this other stuff. But let's ask this question. If slavery never happened, will we still see these same behaviors? Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? So let's put the ball where it belongs.
To your point, right before you go, in that same training that we had last week, they got up there, they talked about this guy from Africa who's the youngest king or general in Africa.
Yeah.
But he was like, he got basically like an army over there.
Yes.
But they were saying like how they don't put this on the news. He's 37 years old, he a general, a king. The U.S. got like, I think some crazy $1 billion bounty on his head. The United States do want to kill him, but he said they was just saying how they don't want to put this type of information out there. They don't show that on the news. But I forgot what country that was in Africa.
Yeah, I think it's Ghana. No, Mufasa. I think it's Mufasa. It's Mufasa, something close to that. And tremendous guy. He's doing an amazing job. And what he's trying to say is, why can't we just have one Africa for Africa,
Absolutely.
right?
Him,
So, right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because see, Africa technically is where chocolate chips come from, right? Black people come from Africa, right? I'm just saying, we know that is the motherland.
For sure.
So it is still today the most fertile place on the planet, right?
Yes.
So with that in mind, everybody is trying to, get their hand Geneva
that's what he
Convention.
got. He got
That's
gold.
Right.
He
He got gold.
found
He
a
got
bunch of
everything.
gold.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And he wants to say, no, y'all not finna take advantage anymore. We not bowing down like that no more. Y'all gonna have to give us respect. He got a powerful army, and some of the nations are getting behind him, but other nations are scared, because these other countries are powerful, right? Because when we were given the opportunity, and I talk about it in the book, when we were given the opportunity over there, 20 countries, France had colonized. And so they had to release it now. It had to be up to the countries to decide if they want to continue with that. So two of the countries right out the bat said no, they wanted them to sign the continuation of colonization. This is a matter of history. And this is recent. This ain't long time ago. So they said, no, what you mean? Sign. Y'all been over us, extorting us? You must be out your rabbit mind. Ain't no way in the world we finna sign what you mean, right? So they said, fine. So France goes in there, pours cement all in their sewage system, snatch out all of the infrastructure, and then say to the other 18 countries, are y'all gonna sign? And all of them sign. Together, those 18 countries give $500 billion a year to the Bank of France. That's why they can have free medical for their people and provide free college for their. They ain't never stopped eating off of us.
Exactly, France.
Right.
Sure.
They ain't never stopped eating off of us. So yeah.
But that's what the king is doing.
Yeah, he doing right now. He righting the wrong on that. No, we not.
He's writing them about France colonized a lot of. But Africa is the only continent that is self-sustaining.
It is.
Like everybody else need to import goods, some type of goods
Something from
different
us.
continents.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Africa is the only continent that it can stand on its own. So it's really the most resourceful and it's the richest continent.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? But it's so they didn't colonized all these areas. Now they taking that gold, taking them diamonds. That's where everything comes from.
Yeah.
Oil, all that come from over there. So they colonized that for them resources.
That is
$500 billion. What you think that is? That's oil.
That's
gas,
that's obscene.
diamonds,
That's
gold.
an obscene amount of money.
And what's more obscene about it, that's say that those countries want to borrow from the money that they give. They can borrow only up to 20% of what they give, and they have to pay the same commercial rates as anybody else.
That's insane.
So this is so these are the things. See, in this country, we don't teach. We program and indoctrinate. This is why we don't get information. Like these women in Hidden Figures, smarter than the IBM computers. They 90-something years old before we hear about them. They were math wizards. We're supposed to be reading books in kindergarten about them. We never had a fear of math, right? I'm not finna give you the game because we know what that's gonna do for you guys and empower you guys. Absolutely.
Science of life, man. I tell people that all the time.
Right. So this is why we perish. There's a scripture in the Bible said, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. That is true. We perish. we say what you don't know won't hurt you. No, what you don't know will hurt you. Right. So this is the mindset. So we step out and they train us to be a fear-based people. That's that emotion. We scared we're gonna go to jail. We're scared police gonna pull us over. Scared something gonna happen to our kids. Scared we're gonna lose our house. Scared something gonna happen to our car. Every decision that we make is based on fear.
Absolutely. Even reading, like they tell you, those who don't read is equivalent to those who can't read. So if you don't read, it's the same as you can't read. But they intimidated you from reading this book. They got a bro book at $95.
I mean, straight up, like I'm for real.
That's
like
insane. Yeah,
$75 for a book.
Right.
That's a $20,
that's a lot of money.
I'm
on Amazon.
That's how much a paperback gonna be.
Borders and all that. That's a lot.
Y'all been in school. Them books had.
No. Them school books.
Them school books.
I don't know about y'all, but I done failed a semester. I had to pay for a book, so that's a piece of cake.
This is still considered.
It's
even
a research.
Though it's educational.
Right. It's a research. See, this is the kind of book to help offset the training that the public school system or private school system is given.
You fucking with their money.
Right. So you use this information here and give it to your child in 8th grade. You start reading this. actually 6th grade, you start reading this book with your child and having a conversation about them and say, so what do you think about that? And you do it in bits and pieces.
Exactly.
And so that way, they telling you this in school, but here's the corrective history. Because I said I went back 80,000 years. So this is a research piece. This is why I went to Africa. I did primary and secondary research so that nobody can come against me and say, oh, no, that didn't happen. No, I got receipts.
Yeah.
See, even in the book, as we've been taught and saw the movie, The Great Debaters, right?
Okay.
About Willie Lynch letter, right? Okay, we have that, right? But that's a brother wrote that in 1971. That's not what really happened. Because see, if you read it, in that word, it's got the word nigger. And the word nigger back at that time during the Oxford Dictionary, it's not there. The word wasn't created during the time that was there. Just like we would see a word selfie or something, like I said earlier, right? So that is debunked in terms of that. So again, but we're not doing that kind of research, and we're not getting that kind of ear. But that's why I designed this book to go into the homes so that parents can talk to their kids, and then we can also wake up. I also teach us how to go to work white and come home black. Right? You can't take
Hey, a lot of us be self-taught on that.
They call it code switching. Code switching.
Exactly.
Here we go. That's that interview. That's that interview shit.
Hi, John. Could you? I would like to put you over to Sally. It's that boy.
Absolutely.
A lot of us learned that.
Yeah. So,
but
I want
to come home black.
a well-dressed lie.
Yeah, a well-dressed lie following the breadcrumbs to an uncomfortable truth. Because unfortunately, like Matrix, right, when you take that red pill, you get to see something that now you can't unsee. Right?
Yeah.
So it's an eye-opening experience, and it just shows you what's really going on. We've been trained to pay attention to the overt behavior, the stuff that's big and in our face, right? So we'll say racism or prejudice or bigotry, right? That's the overt behavior. That's irrelevant. Forget the behavior. What is the covert meaning of this big old behavior, right? It ain't that I'm just dressing me. I broke in your house. I stole her purse. But you did the crime. But why'd you do the crime? I'm a drug addict. I got to feed this habit, right? So you asked it. So what we're doing is we don't pay attention to the covert meaning. So when we see behavior from Mayo in those kind of situations, we taking it personal, right? But see, I have diagnosed them, and I'm not gonna go into the book too much, but there's a whole lot of information that I validate in the book, and I show receipts for it so that no one can pull the wool over our eyes like they have. So, but yeah.
Do you in a very, very philosophical sense, do you consider yourself like a martyr? Just by virtue of the book that you write?
Yeah, because it goes against the grain. I understood that, and it came at a cost to me to do that. And certain people have to walk away because they have a reputation or whatever the case it is, and it's like you get the plague. So the bottom line is, it's more important for us to fit in, right? Not disrupt. Because when you disrupt, that means it's gonna take work.
Yeah.
Right? That's why these kids don't care about disruption. They're gonna disrupt. They're gonna posse up, they're gonna go downtown, they doing all this is attention-seeking behavior.
Absolutely.
This means that no, y'all got a wonderful life going on, and y'all having this, and y'all kids this, that, and the other, and we don't have ain't nobody having fun if we don't have fun.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? So, we don't get that level of support and that level of therapy necessary to help address the trauma, that we've gone through. We just man, we got to keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? We got to just keep it moving. So, that's the conditional mindset. So we don't, that prevents what is necessary. So the book kind of goes through all of these different dynamics and kind of lays bare what is happening and what we need to do to move forward.
Man.
Yeah.
Mr. Parker,
Yeah.
We ran out of tape, but we gonna need you to come back.
For
Oh
sure.
yeah, absolutely.
313,
Yeah, bro.
Hey,
That motherfucker went straight to storage.
Also,
hey, 312
like-
This
I feel like-
master
Real
class.
juicy.
I feel like everything happened for a reason because when you come back, I would like to get some young men in here.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Hey, 312 this is what you call a master class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that.
Thank you.
I swear to God.
Master class.
I was like, man, we went to school on
off
this
the dribble. Just here you go, man. I'm gonna just throw something out there in the universe. This
Straight
is what
up.
you call them. People charge $7,000 for classes.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So
I gotta
before we go,
Ain't no
no. We still got the. Go ahead. You both. We still got the we on. You know, we got the podcast. We Gucci. You feel me?
Oh, it's still recording.
Yeah.
okay.
We good. So, tell us how we can pick up the book. You know, your social media tag. How we can get in contact with you. Where we can reach you if anybody needs your services.
Yeah. So you can reach out to me via email at kicking, the whole word spelled out, kicking all the tires at gmail.com.
Straight up.
So kicking all the tires at gmail.com. You can reach out to me. And you can also reach out to me at 312-730-3408. These books are available on Amazon, Dorrance Publishing. I do get a little bit more when they go through them, but more importantly, whatever the best price you can find on it, go ahead and get it, share it, sit down, read it with your kids, and work through it. It'll help you be a better individual. It'll give you curiosity. It'll necessitate an investigation on your part. You'll feel compelled to do so.
Yeah.
Well, how much you gonna give me that quick right
Straight up.
now? I ain't going to do that.
Sean, man, 6-7 social.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you coming
67
through.
Social. Thank you so much,
67
Mr. Parker.
Social.
All right.
Social.
This was really good.
Yeah. You snap hard.
You know what I mean? Not